Hey y'all, we here. I made it. Back at it again, trying this video one more time. It took me forever, but we're here. My name is Marina, and I am going to give the people the eyebrow tutorial that they have been asking me for years at this point. As you can see, I have pretty sparse eyebrows, but I like to give them a little more flavor. Not too much, but just a little more flavor. I like to start off with my favorite brow pencil. It's the REVLON Color Stay Brow Creator. I've tried a few different things in my years of doing my brows, but this has been giving me the best results so far. As you can see, it has three parts. There's a pencil on the end. There is also a spoolie on the other end that you use to clean up your brows. And then there's a powder part. I don't really use that part. I used to use powder, but I don't use it anymore. I mostly use a spoolie and a brow pencil, but after you see what you see today, feel free to get creative. Anytime I do my makeup, I wash and moisturize my face and seal in that moisture with some oil, but I want to make sure I wipe the excess oil from my brows specifically because it allows the product to apply better. I start by spooling my brows upward so that I can see my shape more clearly. The best thing you can do before you try to put makeup on your brows is to go get them shaped. Waxed, threaded, trimmed, razor, don't care, just get them done. When you get them done, you'll be able to do them and apply this makeup much easier if you go get them shaped beforehand. I then take the eyebrow pencil and outline the shape that I created with the spoolie. I'm staying pretty close to where the hair ends on top of the brow and begins on the bottom of the eyebrow. I'm not going for a super dramatically different look than what I naturally have. I'm just trying to give what I have a little more character, if you will. I am also intentional about not starting at the very inner corner of my eyebrows toward my nose with that outline because I don't want a hard corner at the beginning. Be mindful that you can always edit as you go. You see I check often for this video. And you can use concealer as that will correct many of the mistakes that you make. But if you can just avoid doing that at the beginning, that's even better, honestly. All right, so boom, let's mosey on over to brow number 2. I'll primarily show the right brow in this tutorial, but because this is a longer form video, I will also show you the other side from time to time. Sometimes I do have trouble with making them look like sisters. Not gonna lie, they very often look like cousins, even second cousins if I'm in a rush. Again, shout out to concealer for fixing all the mistakes I make. But I'm applying the same process here. After I've spooled the brows, I go back in and I outline the top and the bottom of the brows. I do not like to have harsh lines toward the bridge of my nose where my eyebrows are because my natural eyebrows don't do that. They naturally ombre. I'm really just trying to replicate what's already there. I try to stick to what the Lord has given me, even though it wasn't much Lord. I like to stay the course. I do not box out my eyebrows. Eyebrows typically don't do that. They naturally ombre. So I just follow what's already there. That's all I do. I'm not gonna lie. I was very surprised I was able to get this video because as you can see, I am very squirrely brained and I love music. I'm a dancer. So I was moving throughout this entire process trying to film this video, but we're gonna push through, baby. We're gonna push through. We are going to push through. So now I'm actually filling in my brows. I like to start in the middle with hair-like strokes and I go toward the outside of my face. I usually start in the middle because I'm pretty heavy-handed and if I accidentally apply a lot of pressure in the middle and work it toward the end of the brow, I'll be okay. But if I start with that rough pressure in the beginning, I'll end up having those boxy brows and that's not what I'm looking for personally. With this brow, I'm moving mostly my strokes from the base of my brow upward and out. Sometimes I move side to side. It really just depends on where I am in that eyebrow and what my brow shape looks like that day. But for this brow tutorial, I'm mostly moving from the bottom and creating a half arch shape. And when I get to the beginning of my brow, I'm applying significantly lighter pressure and moving in just an upward motion. This is where my handy dandy spoolie comes in, my mouse tool, if you will. If I do end up applying too much pressure or adding too much makeup to the front of my brow, I just use a spoolie to spray the product out. I did this other brow off camera, but it's the same technique. There is a bit of a squiggly line at the beginning of this other brow and I will correct it. You can kind of see the confusion on my face. Sometimes I use concealer, other times I'll just wipe it away with my hand or I use the pencil again. It just depends how far I am into the makeup process when I notice something is off. You might also notice that this brow I'm working on is shaped a little thicker than the other one. Again, I don't trip because concealer is your best friend.
I gotta know, how do I get out?
Before I do get to the concealer, I like to correct with the pencil as much as I can by filling in any light spots, cleaning up the spaces, and making anything darker that I need to so that the ombre effect matches between both brows. I try not to obsess over it because concealer will correct most of the problems I have anyway. I just like to review what I'm looking at before I move on to the next step. The concealer that I found that works the best for this part of my makeup because it matches my undertone is the Lip Bar Quick Conceal, and I honestly am not changing concealers anytime soon. I used to use one from NYX, but that had more of a red undertone after it dried, and it looked really crazy, so be mindful of that when you're shopping for a concealer. If you do want a recommendation, I do recommend Lip Bar, not only because I love it, but also because it is Black and woman owned. You did see me analyze my brows a little bit before I started because I'm figuring out how to make them look like they at least came from the same family tree. Now, I don't mind a little bit of chaos. I say that because I apply my concealer directly from the bottle with the wand that's provided. I don't use a concealer brush at this point, but I do wipe a little bit of the excess of the concealer back into the bottle before applying so there's not too much going onto my eye at one time. But if I apply carefully and slowly, it works just fine. Whatever ends up being quote unquote too much, I just blend out into my eyelid anyway and use as an eyeshadow base if I am doing eyeshadow. I kind of do it if I'm not doing eyeshadow anyway. I don't put too much just so it doesn't crease, but that's where it goes. And I just keep checking and make sure that they're giving me what I'm looking for, basically. Now I use a concealer brush to spread the product toward my eyelids, down toward my eyelids, and inward toward the bridge of my nose. I'm really not that particular about where the concealer goes after that. I have to conceal a lot of places on my face because I have acne, I have dry skin, I have a lot of things going on. So I really just place it anywhere else that's away from the brow. I want to make sure that I don't have any crazy lines or harsh highlights, so I like to make sure I spread it out as much as I possibly can. I personally like to take this process eye by eye and section by section. I'll do the bottom of both of my eyes before I do the top of either eye. I am getting very close to the bottom of my eyebrow while I'm blending because I want a clean line and I'm trying to avoid any product buildup, so I carefully blend as best as I can. I use the same technique on the other brow. I like to take my time with this part because it makes a world of a difference in the end. As a note, this concealer from the Lip Bar dries kind of fast, so I don't move too slow. But I do want to make sure I'm evenly spreading the product around using those downward strokes and pulling some of the product into other spaces of my face. Once it looks pretty clean on the bottom, I'm reviewing if there's anywhere I need to apply more concealer, seeing if there's anywhere I forgot to blend, and also making sure there are no spots where I may have gotten rid of the pencil line, especially if I'm moving too fast. I am always rushing to something, so that's very possible. So I'm taking my time to review, clean, and conceal so I can move on to part 2 of this process.
Damn.
Now, while I do enjoy chaos, I also love a good amount of order. You hear me? You see this arm right here? I am putting it in the camera so you can see that it is necessary to have a steady hand, child, for this next step. When you're applying this concealer up top, you want a steady hand because this can go far left really quickly. I am applying a bit harder pressure on the top of my brow because I want to make sure it's really clean and it's really easy to see pieces that you've missed when you're doing the top of the brow. So I just want to make sure that I'm getting it right the first time. As a note, I did not start at the front of my brow, the part that's closer to my nose. I'm about a pinky print size behind that to avoid those harsh lines and the product buildup that I mentioned earlier. I will use a concealer brush later to drag it closer to the front of my brow, but I won't directly slap the product on it like that. That's just wild to me. It is not super important up here that you apply the concealer in the same way between both eyes. This is where we go back to embracing the chaotic side, but it is important that you apply them similarly so the highlight around them doesn't look as crazy. I go back in with the concealer brush and use the same techniques I use under the brow, but this time I'm using upward strokes. I'm focusing on pulling as much product as I can away from the brow to avoid buildup in harsh lines and spread it to other parts of my face. Doesn't matter where it goes for me because I'm concealing a lot of places in my face. I have a lot of dark marks from when I had really bad acne, so it doesn't really matter where I put it. You can see I'm spreading some of the product here and putting it in other places. I don't want to waste product. This stuff is not cheap, so I really just put it somewhere else I know I have to conceal anyway. When it comes to concealer, the best thing you can do is blend, review, repeat. Blend, review, repeat. Say it with me. Blend, review, repeat. I will step back from time to time and look at what I did on both sides to see if they match. They look a little bit different here, but it's nothing drastic, so I'll leave them be. And that's my tutorial, guys. I hope this helps someone who has no idea how to do their eyebrows or just needs a little bit of help with their eyebrows because they can't get the shape together, they can't get the concealing together, whatever the case may be. I'm not a makeup artist. I just show y'all what I know and what works for me and what the people have asked for. So I will say the eyebrow pencil I use can be found at the link in my bio under the Amazon affiliate section. If you learned nothing else in this video, understand it's important to take dance breaks no matter what the task at hand is. Don't ever forget to live a little and play a lot. If you enjoyed this content, definitely let me know. I won't lie and say I'm going to bring more makeup content. That ain't my thing for real. But this is what I like to do for my eyebrows and it's what people have been asking me to do. But if there is something else you want to see in addition to the dancing, skating, and pet sitting videos, let me know. I did include some clips of what my brows look like after I applied a full face and after about 4 hours have passed and 2 roughly an hour performances. They still sitting there, child. I think this is where I remind you to like, comment, and subscribe. So yeah, go do that. See y'all later. Thank you for watching.